Welcome to Kicking It Local, the podcast all about the football community in South Australia. I'm your host, Johnny Keko, and this is part 4 of my NPL preview with the coaches, the final of 4 parts, which means we're very close to kickoff of the NPL SA for 2023, as well as the state leagues. Let's roll into the final 3 coaches of this episode, and I'm looking forward to chatting with all 3 of them ahead of this season. The 3 include Sturt Lions head coach Lino Fusco, as he talks about his club returning back home to Carina Reserve, where they returned halfway through last season, but now they've had their full preseason at their new home base, and he talks about how they're getting ready to go ahead of this season. Whilst Adelaide Olympics, Andrew Calderbank talks about getting another go in the NPL as head coach this season, and how his side look to try and make finals with some very exciting inclusions to the squad. But first, let's get to my chat with one of the title contenders for 2023 in Michael Matricciani from Campbelltown City, and he talks about how his team looking to kick things off this season and try and avoid the slow start as they did last year. Let's get into part 4 of NPL preview with the coaches. I'm here with Michael Matricciani from Campbelltown City. Thank you so much for joining me, mate, ahead of this season.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate your time. You're coming into your second year at the club, and you've come off a very strong end to last season. However, finals didn't go in your favour, unfortunately. But how have you found having this pre-season after having that full year and off-season under your belt instead of coming in fresh like you did last year?
Look, as a manager, especially when a team like we are has had a lot of success over the last decade. We did start a little bit slow, but as you mentioned, we did, after probably round 3, round 4, start getting into our stride again, and we finished the season quite strongly. So having a second year, especially with majority of the squad staying on, has been great. So from where we left off, all the ideas, all the concepts that we've been working all last year has now started from a really good base, and now we've really improved, and I'm seeing massive improvements over the last 2 months of our pre-season and our 4 or 5 games that we've played so far. So we're really looking forward to starting the season in 2 weeks.
Yes, you did mention how you've kept a core amount of your squad, but one big loss you've had in your club over the off-season is Louis Detroit going to Cobras. But what are some of the other outs and also some ins that you've had in the off-season? And can you give us a bit of an insight to the reasons around these changes?
Look, 2 massive players left. Obviously, Louis Detroit, as you mentioned, was one of them. He's been at the club for, I think, 8 or 9 seasons. So he's been a pivotal part in the success of the club. So he's definitely a big player lost. He's a player that wanted to move on. He's gone to Cobras under his dad. So that was the reasoning there. The other massive one was our captain for the last few years in Sean Harvey. He's decided to play in the 2nd division he's getting married this year, and that was the reasoning. He's been at the club for 10 years. We played together in 2013 when the club won their first championship in a long time. So he's been a massive player for the club over the last 10 years and captain. I don't know exactly how many years he was captain for, but definitely the last 3 seasons that I can remember. And then there were some other players like Adam D'Agostino, Anthony Toure, and Nicolas Francesi were the other 3 players that have moved on. Players that we've brought in, first of all, we've had a lot of young players from the club developing. And over the last 12 months, we've had probably 3 or 4 boys being on as train-ons, and now we've promoted them full-time into the first team. So there's been 4 young boys that have been promoted into the first team, which I'm really excited for, and they're looking like they're ready to push some of our senior boys and ready for first team minutes this coming season, which adds depth to our squad. We've also brought in 2 other players with Anthony Trimboli from Croydon as sort of a replacement for Louis Detroit, and we've also brought in another player called Dermot, which he was playing at Adelaide Uni last year. Quite a versatile player, can play in the midfield or fullback or centre back. And we've probably got one more boy that we're looking to bring in, a foreign player that I probably can't say right now, but we're hoping it gets over the line and we can sign him before the window closes.
Some good ins there for the club, and looks like you've managed to fill the gaps of the players you have lost. But after last year's performance in the latter part of the season, I'm sure a lot of people, including myself, are putting your club up there in the top two in the latter predictions ahead of the season. What should we expect from this team that you've built?
Look, I think we had a slow start to the season last year for a number of different reasons, but I'd hope, and we've been working towards not having that slow start. So to finish the season like we did, having 16 wins and 49 points, 1 point off Adelaide City, I think was, if you'd have told me that in round 4, I would have beat your hand off. So we definitely had a lot of consistency throughout the probably round 4 onwards. So I'm expecting us to have a solid start of the season and continue that throughout the year. We have a good depth in our squad, like I mentioned earlier. So I would hope that would go one further this year.
And Alex Mullen, Sergio Melda winner last year. Do we think he's going to do it again, or who is someone we should keep an eye on for this season?
Look, Alex is an exceptional player, exceptional leader of the club, leads by example all the time, and top professional, along with a number of our players. So I probably couldn't pinpoint one in particular. I think Alex is a player that, as a midfielder, and seeing what votes normally happen, a lot of midfielders do get majority of votes, and he's a midfielder that scores goals as well. So I think he got 13 or 14 goals in all competitions last year, which is massive for a midfielder. So if he has that season again, there's no reason why he wouldn't go close to winning the medal again. But we do have a number of good players probably to watch out for.
Last year, you were very close to winning some silverware, but this year, ahead of 2023, what are the club's ambitions? Is it to win trophies this year?
Definitely. Last year was exactly the same. Our targets and the club's targets has been from day one, which I've come in, to win everything we play. In every game that we play to win. And definitely there's always those 3 trophies up for grabs every year, with the cup and the minor premiership and the championship. And we'll be going full steam ahead to try and get as many of those as possible.
Well, hopefully you guys can meet those ambitions for 2023. You got so close last year, and all the best ahead of 2023 for yourself, Michael, and Campbelltown City.
No problems. Thanks.
That was Michael Matricciani from Campbelltown City. Down here at Apex Football Stadium with the head coach of Adelaide Olympic, Andrew Calderbank. Thanks for joining me, Andrew.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
This year is your first year at Adelaide Olympic, and you're back in the NPL coaching at a senior level, and you've also brought along Mitch Daly, who is your assistant coach here. He was your assistant coach at South Adelaide a couple of years ago as well, before moving to Adelaide Hills Hawks. How have you found the preseason heading into 2023?
Yeah, listen, when we come to the football club, we had a lot of outs. So there's some players that moved on, and we brought a lot of players into the football club. So getting the dynamics right, building that culture from scratch, basically. Listen, we got some injuries early on, which sort of unsettled what was going on and what the plan was, but we've worked around it. We brought up a few young lads from the 18s and the reserves that have joined into our squad and now proven themselves to be in there full time. So, listen, it's gone well. It's gone well.
You talk about bringing some of the young ones into the squad, but you've also made some massive ins with former Adelaide United captain Michael Jakobsen. He's in the squad this season, and some other big ins as well. What can you give me an insight of what the ins and outs that you've made coming into this squad, and some of the reasons behind those changes you've made?
Yeah, I think, listen, some of the outs is out of my hands. They were gone before I got here, like Chididini. What else we lose? We lost Joy, went back overseas to Greece. Benny, the centre back, also an import. He retired, and then there was a couple others as well. Went into state for work and what have you. But my ambition was also to change the football style that we're going to play, so I had to bring some players in. So you talk about Jakobsen, he's a late inclusion into us, which is a fantastic pickup. We actually honestly thought we were getting him later in the year, maybe in the transfer window. Lucky for us that he's come back early. And then obviously I brought a couple of players from I've been coaching for the last couple of years, Liam Wooding from South Adelaide and Jack Rudge, Blake Lindsay, Sam Carmichael's come in from Cumberland United. We picked up James Cooper Mullen, from Sturt, James Polly from Bacalla, and we've promoted a lot of young boys of the age of 16 and 15 from the under-18s that were already here. So it's exciting.
What should we expect to see from this squad and the style of play that you're trying to bring into this squad?
Well, we want to play football. Right? You won't see anything too direct from us. We want to try and shift the opponent around and pick moments in the game, and we speak about that a lot, about making the right choices within those moments. I don't want to turn them into robots, but they need to recognise things, and within that, it's up to them what they do. And it's starting to come together. It's a whole new, different brand of football. It's a different formation, but there's moments now where you can really see it starting to come together, especially from the young ones as well. So.
With Michael Jakobsen, most of us have watched the A-League. We all know what to expect from him. He's a great player in his mid-30s now. But we also got Christy Vangeli, another great player who played here at LA Olympic in 2019. But with the younger ones coming through and some of the new ones you brought over to LA Olympic with you, who is someone you reckon we should keep an eye on, or if there's a couple in the squad?
Yeah, listen, obviously those two names you mentioned, Vangeli and Jakobsen are experienced and people already know of them, but they've been great leaders for the football club, and especially for the young boys on what we're trying to do and explaining things on what we're trying to expect, how we're playing. But for me, there's a couple of the young boys that have come up. Vinko is 15, just turned 16. I think he's played every preseason game for us. So we found him in the under-18s, and through some injuries, he got an opportunity, and he's phenomenal. We come over and started bossing people around at training, and which was great to see. So he stepped up into us, our starting 11 at the moment. And then we've got a young winger, Abu, again, 16 years old. Who else we got in there? Young Amir. Again, he's 16, 17. Young Anthony Matotovic, also 17, maybe just turned 18. So there's been some great opportunity, and they've taken it. We've got a young goalkeeper that's come up from the under-18s as well. So Corey, it's coming along.
You obviously want to play a good brand of football, but also with the club in general. Have you spoken to the board and know what the ambitions are for 2023? Is it last year? Obviously, we know that the club almost got relegated, but this year, is it trophies, finals, or is it just to build a squad for the future?
Listen, if you come here in NPL football to participate, I think you're getting the wrong message. But for us, it's to win, right? So. Within that, though, we're realistic. We are going to be developing a lot of young players, and with that comes mistakes, and with that cost goals, and we're okay with that. I think the brand of football that we'll play will definitely be very competitive, and we really want top four or higher. That's a minimum, right? The club wants a good cup run again. That's been fantastic for the football club in the past, but we go to win every game. Who knows what can happen? So we're about winning, not about participating.
Absolutely. We can't wait to see what that mentality will be like this year to see on the pitch. But lastly, before I let you go, on the pitch, most that come down to Apex Football Stadium will know the wafting smoke that comes across during the game. How are you going to be tempted? How do you think you're going to be able to control yourself with the smell of that throughout the...
Listen, I've already had an experience of it, and you can't get better food, I don't think. It's the best food in the competition, so they can keep doing it. I'm not out there playing, so I can smell it all day long, and I'll have a feed while I'm having it, so no problem.
Looking forward to seeing you and the squad hit the pitch this season. Hopefully it's a successful one for yourself.
Thanks very much for having us, and watch out for some of our young boys.
That was Andrew Calderbank from Adelaide Olympic. I'm joined by the head coach of Sturt Lions, Lino Fusco. Mate, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
It's another big season for the club. Last year probably wasn't went as expected, but how has pre-season treated you and your team ahead of 2023?
Yeah, look, I think if we reflect back on last season, we had a very good season back in 21, and that rolled on into 22. 22 was quite a challenging season for the club, not only from a football perspective, but we had the Corinna, our new $4 million home ground, coming online, and that project was running late, so we weren't able to do the pre-season there, and we ended up travelling all over Adelaide for training sessions for pre-season, and so it wasn't the ideal lead up into 2022. But Corinne's finished now, and so we've been able to have a good solid pre-season at one venue, our home ground, which is the first time in the club's history. So it's been quite a settled pre-season. We've played lots of games. I think we've had nine or 10 trial games. We like to play a lot of games, and part of the reason behind that is we see the trial games as an opportunity to give a lot of the young players at the club and in the squad more game time, and to better prepare them for when they might be used during the season. So we've given lots of opportunity to lots of young players as well as steadily built our side up for the start of the season.
Heading into this season, how many changes have you made to the squad? What kind of ins and outs have you made heading into this year, and also some of the reasons behind those decisions heading into 2023?
Yeah, look, as a club, we like to keep a very stable squad. We don't like to bring a lot of players in every year. You do need to bring some players in, but we don't like to overhaul the squad from year to year. So I guess we had 2 outs probably from our first 11 this year. One was young Ben, a left fullback, and Sammy Voigt. Both players live out north, a long way out north, and Ben was driving an hour and a half to every training session, and an hour and a half home afterwards, and that just, even though he loved the club, that just wasn't sustainable for the long term. So they're the two main outs. And so we've then gone out and replaced Ben. We're fortunate to pick up Marcus Orchard from Raiders and formerly with Adelaide City. He won a championship with Adelaide City in 21. Fantastic left-sided player. So we're very pleased to pick him up. You also picked up Dylan D'Agostino from Adelaide Olympic. A player that can play right across 7, 9 or 11 or even in 10, and so we've added him to the squad, and then we have young Nick Samaras who was with Adelaide United, quick attacking player, and we're pleased to he's been a junior at the club, and we're pleased to get him back as well. So they're probably the 3 main changes in our squad. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same group of players rolling forward.
Well, this season it seems like you've only made a few changes compared to a lot of other clubs in the league. What should we expect from this squad that you're bringing into this season compared to what we saw last year from the club?
Yeah, look, I think our first 2 seasons in the NPL, we were focused on number one on survival. We're now our 3rd season in NPL, and I guess this year we're looking to probably reinforce our playing style and have less of a focus just on survival. And we've got some fantastic young players that are coming up through the ranks that we want to give up opportunities to. So we're kind of taking. I guess I look at it. We're taking a bit of risk this year. We're not going out and going into every game with 22 first 11 players. We want to improve our style of football, the quality of our football with very good technical players, and we want to create some opportunity for young players, and there is some risk associated with that from a performance point of view, but we want to be brave as a club. If we're going to take this club forward, if we're going to take the sport forward, then you need to take risks, and we're looking to do that this year.
Well, if you're going to be taking a risk, is there any players we should keep an eye on this season? Because we know we got the experienced players like Michael Moroney, John Fusco as well, who's the oldest player in the league, still going this year as well. And the younger ones coming through the ranks, is there anyone in particular we should really keep an eye on?
Well, we have Tyrese Conway, which it'll be his second season in the NPL. He was our leading goal scorer last season. I think pretty much a lot of clubs we're trying to recruit him as well. So he's a very exciting young player, and we're expecting big things from him this year to go on from his first NPL season last year. Then we have I mentioned Nick Samaras. He's a very, very exciting young attacking player, and I think you'll see quite a bit of him this year. So I think they're probably two players to keep an eye on.
And lastly, Lino, we know the last 2 seasons have been a little bit different for the club. Last year was fighting to not get relegated. The year before, you made finals. What's the club's ambitions heading into this season? Is it to try and win silverware, make finals, or try and build a sustainable young squad for the future?
Look, our goal is to play finals. Every year we want to play finals football, and and the way we play and the team we have, if we make finals, then we can give it a real shake. So that's our number one goal is at this stage is to play finals, and to do that, we don't want to be scraping into the finals, if that makes sense. We want to try and get points up quickly and solidify a spot in the finals as early as we can. That's our goal as a club, because if we make finals, then we know we're going to have a good crack at it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Carina Reserve is finally up and running. You've moved in there last season. How important is it to have it now as a permanent home base that you'll be able to play every home match from this season?
Oh, it's massive for us from a training perspective as well. Previously we've trained all over the place down at Shores. 30-minute drive from where we're based, and training all sorts of hours. We had training sessions starting at 8:30 at night. Just to because that's what was available. So it's much more settling. For the team, that was us to work on a lot more things, and we need to go through the transition where we turn that into our fortress as well, where teams start fearing to coming to Frinya, because they know we're going to be very hard to beat there.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that the new home base does bring good form for the club this season, and good luck ahead of 2023, Lino, and hopefully you and the club can bring success.
No, thank you very much, and I just want to say thank you for all the great work that you do, and so many other people around the sport. You're promoting the sport. You do a fantastic job, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, Lino. It's absolutely a pleasure, and especially talking to people like yourself and everyone else involved in the community. We love doing it. It's a great game. It's for the great community. Thank you so much, Lino. All the best.
Excellent. Thank you.
That was Lino Fusco from Sturt Lions. That's all for the NPL preview with the coaches right here on Kicking It Local. Hope you enjoyed all 4 episodes, including my 12 chats with each coach for this season. It was a lot of fun to do, and I'm looking forward and getting very excited ahead of season 2023. Make sure you keep an eye on socials to find out who my first guest will be for 2023. It's going to be exciting. Looking forward to getting involved and supporting local football once again here in South Australia. Get behind your club, get behind your local team, get there and support local football, because it is going to be huge. That was Andrew Calderbank, Lino Fusco and Michael Matricciani right here on Kicking It Local. Make sure you subscribe to Kicking It Local wherever you get your podcasts so you can get a taste of the SA football community. Plus, follow Kicking It Local SA on Instagram and Twitter so you don't miss any of the action. See you soon!